gonna be a little bit different. Today, we're gonna be taking out a new concept, idea, basically a new vessel that we have to try and clean up some trash, some plastic, and do some diving. And that is, boom. So this is a kayak slash boat slash, I don't know, skiff. It's an affordable, you know, high density polyethylene roto-molded skiff. I got it because I've been diving out here, Lake Boca, Peanut Island, you know, doing a lot of diving and getting a lot of debris, but it's a pain. Once you have, you know, a large boat, you got to keep picking up the anchor and moving every time. So I had an idea or concept to get a skiff like this. This guy's awesome because it's got a ton of room up in the front for dive gear. It's our blue underwater dive system. We've got our OTS mask hooked up, the Spectrum. It's got waterproof case, but in the back here, this is a huge area that I plan to install like a big bin. So basically we're gonna put a big blue bin on here for trash. Right now I've just got our scuba jet scooters. These things are awesome underwater dive scooters, some cleanup gear. It's got some rod holders so I can fly a flag, got a net. But another cool thing that I'm gonna be doing is there is a trolling motor mount. So you can install a remote control bow mount trolling motor on this thing, which is awesome. I love it because I can now cruise all around these different areas, hook up a lithium ion battery to it. And this thing's like a little strike mission machine. You know, I don't need another captain. I don't need the whole crew to go out. If I just wanna go solo and go clean some plastic, do some diving, throw this thing in the back of the truck and we're off. We're gonna take this thing out and see how she performs and just understand what we need to do to tweak it, dial it in, and get this thing ready to rock and roll. We're gonna have to find out how sturdy this thing is. Oh, we're chilling. Yeah, we're good, all right. She's solid. Now, they say that it's not the best for paddling. It's more designed for trolling motor, but today's a test day, so we're gonna just paddle at it and see what happens. All right, here we go. Little adjustable foot pegs. All right, initial impressions. She is pretty clunky. Not the best for paddling. So it's incoming tide right now. And the reason why I'm going out on incoming tide is because it's pulling that clean water from the Gulf Stream. So we'll have good visibility. The only issue is on an incoming tide, I'm literally kayaking against the current right now. Putting a lot of effort forward and not going too far. But the good news is we only got to go to Lake Boca right here. So definitely rather have a trolling motor on this thing. All right, so we made it out to Lake Boca. This is the Power Pole Micro. This is a rechargeable shallow water anchor. So check this thing out. Press the button down, boom, into the sand, and we're stuck. So now we're anchored and I can get all my stuff rigged up, get the gear dialed in. These things are sick. So the game plan for today is to use the blue Nomad, which is an underwater dive system hooked up to the OTS Spectrum full face mask. I'm gonna rig it to the front of the little micro skiff. I got the dive flag up and I'm just gonna cruise these different areas just along the bottom, just grabbing trash, cans, plastic, anything that I see. So with something like this, I can stay hooked up to the bow, tow around this little micro skiff, and then use a bin in the back that I can just, you know, continuously come up and just drop all the trash and plastic in. It makes it super easy. You do got to be cautious. There's a lot of people out here drinking, hanging out, having a good time, and so that's why I'm gonna stay right, you know, on the skiff, like right on the nose, on the bow, and you know, just be right off the front of it. And like I said, I got the flag up, so I'll be cruising around. I can pop up and just be keeping an eye on things, but highly advise everybody to be safe out here whenever you're doing anything like this. But this, let's give it a go and see what happens, right? All right. Look at that. Woo! Successful first little dive. Got a bunch of masks, a bunch of beer cans. That was a good little dive. Loaded with plastic and trash. I got some sunglasses. I got a bunch of trash. Look at this full bag. Look at that. That's nifty. Let's see what we got. All right. This is not a bad setup. I'm pretty stoked. This thing is super efficient for grabbing trash and having fun. Some guy on a sailboat kept waving me over and I didn't know what he wanted, so I took the scooter over to find out what he was looking for.
Can you hear me? What were you saying?
An Apple Watch.
Apple Watch? On the port side?
Yeah. Yeah, right where all the girls are standing.
So the guy was explaining that there was an Apple Watch that fell off somebody's wrist when they were jumping off the boat. He wanted to see if I could help find it, so I headed on over and started looking. The reason why this was going to be so hard is because the tide switched over, which meant that the boat swung completely around since the individual jumped into the water. This meant that I had a few football fields of area to search, and it really was like finding a needle in a haystack. I kept looking around but didn't have any luck. I saw a ton of trash and a bunch of random things, and I was getting ready to give up. I went back up to the boat to get a better calibration and then go back down to see if I could find it. And then
Whose watch is this? Is it? Oh. You're welcome. Of course. Have fun, guys.
that was pretty cool, huh? End up finding an Apple Watch, a bunch of trash, all sorts of stuff. So whenever you're collecting glass, it's super important. Make sure there's no octopus or anything in here. They love to end up making these their home. Can't tell you how many times we've grabbed bottles and things like that. They say that glass, because it's inert, you're supposed to leave it, but in an area like this, Lake Boca, where it's shallow, people are, you know, walking on the sandbar and stuff, I always grab the glass, but I just make sure there's no octopus or anything in it. So, what a day, what a day. I really don't feel like kayaking, paddling this thing home, so I'm just gonna rig up the old mask and just tow myself home. Yeah, not bad. No man left behind. Check this out. After I found the iPhone, or not the iPhone, the Apple Watch, buddy's like, hey man, I took care of you. And I couldn't really hear him because I had the full face mask on, but then I hooked me up with a bunch of beers. It's in a plastic bag, you know. Not the greatest, but hey, it's a thought that counts, right? Good old Yingling. Appreciate you, buddy. Palm Breeze Charters, shout out to you guys. All right, it's starting to rain, starting to get nasty out here. I'm gonna make my way home. Made it back to the ramp. Now the tide was outgoing, so I had to come back against it. I gotta say, this was a successful little day. And look at all the trash. Aside from the beers, but we got a lot of stuff. This thing is sick. I like this little kayak canoe. It is what it is, right? It's hard to paddle, but you're supposed to put a trolling motor up on the bow there. But it's got plenty of room for dive gear. I mean, look at this. I got a blue Nomad, scooters, full face mask, long blades, still enough room to hang out here. Waterproof storage. Check it out. Phone, nice and dry. Going in the back, we got all the trash. I'm gonna probably put a bigger bin here, one that takes up like this full area. I'm supposed to store a small battery here in a little waterproof box, but a bigger bin. A couple hours is a nice little strike mission. Ended up finding some volleyball players, Apple Watch. That was pretty cool. This thing's sick, man. You only need one person to take it out, go on a little strike mission, clean up some trash, have a good time. All right, guys, that's it. Until the next one, we'll see you next time. You.